Welcome to Eduwell. In this special season wrap up episode, we're taking a pause to reflect on the goals we set, the growth we experienced, and the unexpected lessons we have picked up along the way. From intentionality to slowing things down in the classroom and at home, we're talking about what worked, what didn't, and what's coming up next for us and for you. So grab a cold drink or take us on a long walk. Let's take a little time to look into the well and see what's surfaced. Welcome to the Eduwell Podcast, a show created for, by, and with teachers. I'm Alex.
And I'm Chelsea. With over 30 years of combined teaching experience, our goal is to share insights and connect with fellow educators on how to thrive both personally and professionally.
Join us as we dive deep into the well of information, filled with meaningful discussions, practical tips, and ideas that go way beyond the classroom walls. Let's be well
and do well together.
All right, Chelsea, I don't know about you, but first several days of vacation are me lying in bed and I'm not even, able to muster the energy to reflect. I just need to recover from what has been, June. And then the reflection starts to come and starts to percolate in my brain. And I start thinking of what has been and as a result, what will be for me. And so, yeah, I don't know if you have a process.
Yeah, I think no matter what kind of year you had as a teacher, there is that time when you just get out of school and you kind of have to go and just stare at the wall for a few days or lay around. And then you realize, oh, I have some time off. What am I going to do with it?
Right. So once you've done the unwind, do you have that moment where you're like, I can do this, I can do that, and you go kind of like off script completely and just it's like freedom and you don't know what to do with yourself? Like that's where I go right away.
Yeah. And once again, like the beginning of the school year, you have all of these aspirations. You're going to get a million things done that summer and your lists are endless. And then you just kind of go, oh, I think I'm just going to relax, chill out, and get some things done. And that's good. That's okay.
I've had summers where I've got absolutely nothing done, but recovered from the year that was behind me. And I'm okay with that. And I've had other years where, I've had some pretty lofty summer goals of travel or of, really spending time with friends and really rich summers. But I guess the summer that you have is what presents itself. And also, what is the summer that you need, right? You may need a summer where you just do nothing. And that's okay. And you might need a summer where it's just filled with reconnection or, task lists. Those can also be fulfilling. It's just, what do you need, right?
Yeah. And the bottom line is that teachers need summers. It is required for us to be well and do well. 100%.
So grateful for summers. So grateful. And that word gratitude reminds me that our episode at the beginning of the season, we focused right in on what our overarching goals were for the year. And, I had to really think about, what I was going to share and what I wasn't going to share. But I'm excited to revisit the goals and kind of have you and I walk through how that worked out for us.
Me too. I'm very excited about that. I'm also a little bit amazed that we are here right now and that the school year has ended. It was a pretty fast year for me. And that kind of reminds me of teaching in your 40s, where it's like once you get into your 30s and 40s, life goes into fast forward.
And for us, so the school year ends and our second season ends. And Chelsea, after recording episode 1 16 times, I think it's quite a miracle that we are not only, ending season 2 right now, but already have, content recorded for season 3 and have a really amazing big idea that we're going to be bringing to listeners for our next season 3. Did I say 3 already? Maybe more than once? Season 3.
You've got to put that out there. And that's because we're teachers and we have awesome batching skills and planning skills. So that's why we're getting ahead of the game. So good for us. Okay, now that we've given ourselves props and told everybody that season 3 is coming up, tell me about how your goals went this year.
Oh, all right. Well, I guess I'm going first. Let's do this. Okay. So I had two major overarching goals, and in reflecting about that conversation that we had, one of the things that I said was that we were being vulnerable in sharing our goals out to the world, and how that was a strategy that we also had to kind of hold our feet to the fire. So I had two goals, and my first one was the slower you go, the faster you go. And that was to really um, physically and with my brain, with my thinking, with my actions, to focus in and slow down and be okay with achieving less and doing it with more focus and just a slower pace. So I find that I have to constantly remind myself of that goal, Chelsea, because I am a flitter and flitting has served me well. Let me be clear. When you're a teacher, there are so many messages, questions, observations, things that you're doing that you have to just go with the flow and be in the moment. So when you have to sit down and write an email, or when you have to have an intentional thought and really think something through, you can defer to that flit. So I really have to give myself a constant self talk. You need to slow down. It's okay to just focus on this email and ask for the space that you need right now. In the morning, be in the space that you're in and do the job that you need to do to get to the next step. Relax. I have to constantly remind myself. But let me tell you that the slowing down and pinpointing when I can actually do it and when I can't has been key to having a more I want to say in control. I'm going to use your word, intentionality. It's improved. It's improved for me. My school year and my home life has improved as a result. But it's just a constant, everyday, step by step. I want to say battle. It's a battle for me to slow down.
I agree. I always have to think about it too. And yeah, these two goals, intentionality, which is my goal, and the slowing down, they just go hand in hand. But when it comes to slowing down, this goal of slowing down to get things done better, it reminds me of, when you're sending a text and you're typing the text really quickly and then the words are all wrong and then autocorrect is correcting them incorrectly and it becomes this problem. And then you have to erase everything and type it out slowly. And then you go, I should have went at that pace initially. That's what it reminds me of. Like, apply that to everything you can in life, right? Even though I know that we're into the voice texting, which everyone gets annoyed with around me, but I don't care because it's so much easier.
Everyone gets annoyed with me too. But that's the truth. You spend 5 minutes undoing the
Yeah.
misconception from the first text that you rushed out, right? Or you're doing multiple things. You're talking to someone and you're texting at the same time. And slowing down is really just saying to yourself, focus on the single task, shut out everything else. And it can come with consequences because to really focus on something, you're shutting other things out. So I mean, I guess that goes back to communication and letting people know what you're doing so that they don't feel like they're being ignored. But I literally have to now, say out loud sometimes, I have to finish this email. I am working on this. I am not available until this time. And I have to consciously focus. There's just too many opportunities now in a day to be distracted. And I find that it's
Yeah.
more and more. So, I mean, I'm glad that I'm cognizant of it. I really am. And I'm glad that I made it a goal. I'm glad I'm going to continue to focus on this because I can see the benefits. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that I am also just slowing down as I'm getting older and my body requires more rest or more focus when I'm doing something.
Yeah, it's like we talked about in our Teaching in Your 40s episode. You've figured out how to do things in better ways and you're not afraid to set those boundaries. And we need boundaries for our focus because like you said, there are so many things pulling at our attention. We need to figure out what's important at this time and what we need to do and what boundaries we need to set. So that's a great point.
Okay, why don't you tell me a little bit about your goal? And you had mentioned that they are connected, but you have your own experience with intentionality. How was that for you this year? Were you able to really keep that as a constant? And what did that look like?
Yes. So my goal was to be intentional in the classroom, at home, and with the podcast. Those were the three main areas in my life that I really wanted to put my focus on. So overall, I was much better with planning in the classroom and not going all over the place. And I had said that I really wanted to focus on time blocking in class. So giving students time to work and teaching focus and finishing something before overlapping. Now, I know that that is really not always possible, but I did focus on finishing major projects or assignments, giving enough time before moving into something else. And it was much more effective in helping students and helping myself stay focused in the classroom, which I know is a given, but I just think we experience so much pressure as teachers to move on, move on, move on, move on. And that really just doesn't make any sense. Like to move on if we haven't had the students grasp, you know, the majority of the concept, or if they don't have enough time to finish their work well. So I did that this year because I was able to. And it was enjoyable and less stressful for all of us.
And that's key, more enjoyable, not just for you, but for all of us, to remove that pressure of starting something new and to finish strong is a real gift, because you're also modeling for students, completion and a little bit of grace of when the learning is interesting, following the learning, as opposed to, like you said, putting up the pressure to start something new. I'm going to add one more thing here, which is I always prefer the start to the end. The start is exciting, the start is filled with hope. The end, often you're kind of wrapping things up. Everybody's at a different end point, and it's challenging. So sometimes it's actually easier to move on to the next thing, back into hope, back into the fresh start, than it is to finish up and have everyone finish up. So I like your mindset, and I'm going to steal some of this for next year, to remember that, quality is better than quantity, and to just follow the learning and to be where you are. I really, I like that. So your other goal, Chelsea, and I'm really curious about this one, was that you were planning on reframing stress. And you pointed out that not stress that is your more serious stresses, you're not looking to, look at everything with rose colored glasses. However, to look at stress with a more I'm excited or I'm learning lens. How was that for you?
Yeah, that worked out well for me too, because I did get myself into some uncomfortable situations by choice. So whether I was learning something new or going somewhere new, because I had an opportunity to go to a teaching conference this year, and things like that make me nervous. I'm going into a new space, I'm meeting new people, I'm traveling, and all of those things can make me a little bit uncomfortable. So when I did feel stressed out about that, I brought in the feelings of excitement and positivity and the what if this great thing happens.
And it was like it was a good experience for you.
Honestly, it was a wonderful, I'm going to use the word wonderful. It was a wonderful experience. And I went with a colleague. We just had a blast.
That is absolutely wonderful. And that is putting yourself out there, especially if you're someone who doesn't like to travel. And I remember when you were planning on going, I know that's an area that you're working on getting excited about as opposed to being nervous about. And I did note that you, in your conversation about the trip and about the experience before it happened, was positive. Even though it's quite possible that you also had some thoughts in your head that weren't, what you were putting out into the universe was a very positive spin. And that's something that we can apply to whatever it is. So that's something for you that you were nervous about or not sure about or feeling anxious about. And we all have something like that in our lives. And it is all about how you look at it and how you talk about it. And I don't know, I look at it like this for you. Now you've had that experience. What are the chances that you're going to go back now that you've had that good experience?
Yeah, the chances are 100%. It's like with anything uncomfortable that you get into, you figure out, do I want to continue doing this or not? And I would definitely do that again. Okay, Alex, on to your second goal, gratitude. How did that go for you this year?
Okay. Well, I mean, there's been a lot of gains and a lot of losses, as there is in a year for any human being. And I wouldn't say that any of my losses were, completely life changing. So I'm grateful for that for now, let's say. I took it to a really big next level. I am really, really focused on this, Chelsea. I am grateful. I am grateful. And I always felt it was a lot of like meh when people would say, well, I'm grateful that that happened because I learned a lesson. I couldn't really quite understand that. I'm not mocking because I mean, if people are that actualized, I'm so impressed. And I'm about to say that I'm getting there because I am. I'm really seeing more and more how so many things, it's all kind of coming together a little bit, that things that have happened, once you have time and space for them, that you can find a level of, no, that was a lesson and I can apply that now. In the same way that you going and having that experience, that was a lesson for you. And you can use that later in life or with new experiences. So I'm taking it to the next level, and I'm starting to see the things that happen that are negative. I'm seeing them in a different light. And that's challenging, but I'm doing it. And the other thing I'm doing, I'm being so grateful now, is that I am really working on giving away some of my gratitude, being generous with some of what I have and not holding on so tightly to it. Sharing more, let's say it like that. And when I say that, I'm thinking very specifically right now about getting rid of things that I no longer use that have purpose for someone else, and being so grateful that you realize that you do have more than enough. And so it's shifting now into that, and that feels really freeing, I'll say. And so I'm excited to see where my future goals continue to grow, because I am really using a few of the episodes that we had a good conversation. I have to tell you, Chelsea, thank you so much for being the type of person that takes a philosophy, a feeling, an inkling, a goal, and turns it into something so very actionable, right? You are someone who breaks things down into steps. And I have used Be Well and Do Well, Stop Wishing in the Well, and the other wishing one, and our conversation and the structure around it. And I'm really starting to apply it in different ways. And so I'm excited to take what I've already learned with these two goals, these overarchers, and to spin them into something different. And right now I'm in a moment where I can put the time and effort into this. And I'm sure that there will be times where all this will have to drop away because I'm dealing with the 10. And I'm okay with, that. But that I'm seeing results and that I'm able to actualize things is really exciting. And it's really, I don't know, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying almost like hacking my life right now, because I feel like there were so many years in my life where life was happening to me and life was just swirling and I didn't feel like I had the agency. And now I've lived enough life and had enough experiences that I'm really seeing cause and effect, and a whole bunch of really small actions can equal really big results. And it's enriching, and it's not enriching in a way that might be obvious to anyone else, but it's internally very enriching.
I know exactly what you mean. Once you start seeing all of those results, it becomes this fun challenge that you have in your life. Like, how can I do this better now? It's iterative. It's so exciting. I'm totally with you on that. That makes me really happy that you said that. That really fills my well, Alex. I'm pumped about that.
I am so glad that I filled your well today.
Oh,
That's really good. One drop at a time, because it is such a process. It's not like pouring liters in all at once.
Exactly. One drop at a time.
One drop at a time.
To a full well. Okay, let's jump into the next part of this conversation, which is, what would we have done differently this year? Because we made mistakes. I mean, we have a whole episode on making mistakes and how to recover from that. So let me start off with some things I've thought about, reflected on, and think, maybe I would have changed that a little bit. like there were some times when I pushed through fatigue when rest would have actually helped me. And I know I keep talking about how important it is to get rest on this podcast, but the fact is that we are teachers, we are parents, we are busy people, and there's always something going on, and there are bigger things that happen in life that can really drain your well. And that did happen to me a few times this year. So I think this year I know you can't predict everything, but I am going to take a look at my calendar. And we've talked about doing some episodes on this. Like, look at that calendar and highlight the areas where you know things are going to pile up, or you're going to be maybe overwhelmed, or you've got some things going on in your personal life that maybe you need to put aside your goals for. That happens. So I'm going to have a look, try to look into the future a little bit more just to see what else I can do to kind of prep myself for that.
Chelsea, that's a lot that you just talked about, and I'm glad that you said we're going to do some episodes on that, because I have a whole bunch of things I want to say, but it's going to become a new episode. So let's just let your wise words in that moment be the wise words.
Okay.
Okay. So I think for me, it is so important in the interactions that you have in a day that you always bring that calm, cool, collected approach. And when you're dealing with more serious situations, let's say behaviors, loud noises, lots of people, lots of bodies doing things that maybe they shouldn't be doing, it is imperative that you remain in that calm space. And I'm talking outwardly and inwardly. So I really would like to continue to work on ways that I can access that calm and have things that I can say to myself to maintain that level of Zen, because I'm very mindful about how effective I am when I am in that state versus when I, let's say you show a level of frustration. So, I mean, that's just something that from the beginning of my career to now, is something I will continue to work on. I think it's key, because I think people feed off of the energy that you put out, right? And so, we always as teachers have these moments that stick in our head where, we did lose our cool. And I'm not talking about anything super dramatic here. I'm talking about just we feel frustrated, and the student can definitely see the frustration. And I think it's just something that I will continue to work on for the rest of my career. I find the space sometimes to be just there's just a lot going on. So remaining calm and having your nervous system be calm while everything is happening around you, it's challenging. It is for me the biggest challenge in the career, actually, is to remain in a state of decent calm when you are in a space where there are so many different people with so many different agendas. And I see it in everybody, especially in June. There's a level of frustration that crops up, and it's keeping that in check, but also expressing it and having safe spaces to talk. And yeah, that's me.
Yeah, it's true. It is a difficult thing, and it is something I think that we are always working on. And there have been a lot of changes, in the education world that don't necessarily help that. So you're right, it's something we're always working on. And we do maintain that calm. We do access that ability to respond in ways that are professional. And we've practiced that patience all day. And then when we get home to our families, where many of us have children or other people that we're taking care of, or other responsibilities that we're going home to. And yeah, one of my items on my list that I would try to change is to not project those frustrations onto my own family, because I think that we can do that. That's not to say that we're not allowed to go home and talk about our frustrations, because that's a very healthy thing to do. We do need to discuss that, but I can save a lot of that for you, Alex, as my trusted friend and colleague. So to definitely get that out and to talk about it. But yeah, I think so many of us are dealing with that, and the environments that we could be working in may make it extra difficult.
You hit the nail on the head when you say you're remaining professional all day long. And there's a level of stuffing that happens, a level of just your needs being set aside. It's taxing. It's so taxing. That is just the truth. It is a taxing thing to do. And so that is the natural thing when you get home. You've been on and you've kept a lid on it, and you get home and you want to be able to blow off steam. A lot of people work out. I go for walks. What do? You work out. You're always working out, Chelsea.
I am not always working out. Like I said, I'm keeping it moderate, easy, enjoyable, and I like it.
Okay, that's good.
So let's jump into what's coming next, give you a little season 3 preview. We're going to be exploring expectation inflation, those ever-growing demands placed on teachers in the classroom. We'll explore strategies to manage these expectations and how to push back. We believe that less is more.
We do. And don't worry, because I know how much people enjoyed the Generation series. We really enjoyed it ourselves. So there are a lot of new rich conversations that will be embedded into season 3 to continue on with the Generation series. And that brings me to the last point that we need to make about next season, which is genuinely useful, because we are going to keep the conversations going with actionable, realistic tips that are sustainable, because we do not want to burn out and we do not want you to burn out. Plus, we're bringing you more stories, more guest voices, and more honest conversations about what it means to be well and do well. All right, Chelsea. Well, I think we've had some good reflection time. We've intentionally had a conversation, and we've slowed down a little bit during this conversation, because we know that the slower you go, the faster that you go. We've talked about some stressful situations, and we've made sure to look at them as positive and to learn some lessons out of those situations. So as we gaze into this well, I've got to tell you that I am feeling really grateful that you and I have persevered through the challenges of obviously our career, and overall had some good thriving, but also that in reflection, we have gotten to the end of season 2, and I'm going to say it's an accomplishment. So I'm very happy to look into that well and see some success and some positivity reflected back. How about you?
Me too. And I'm really excited to fill the well with fresh water during the summer and jump into that new season. So as we wrap up, our only takeaway is to truly enjoy your time off. When that August anxiety starts creeping in, remind yourself you'll get it all done, or at least most of it. You're human, and that's more than enough.
Thanks for listening to the Eduwell podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a friend, subscribe, and leave a positive review. It helps others to find us.
Follow us on Instagram and Pinterest to help spread the word. For more inspiration, tips, and book recommendations, just head to the show notes and join the Eduwell newsletter today. Until next time, be well
and do well.